Biden takes on Canada. Toronto MP breaks down crying after serious allegations. The Drake Ticketmaster lawsuit, and so much more. Welcome to 6 Minutes, the show that keeps you up to date with the 6 in minutes. I'm your host, Georgie. Let's get rid of these stories. The big story this week was Joe Biden making his first trip to Canada since taking office back in 2021. Now you listen here, Sleepy Joe. Don't you think you can come to my country, diss my city's team, and get away with it? Roll the clip.
Our labor unions cross borders. So do our sports leagues. Baseball, basketball, hockey. Listen to this, hockey. I have to say, I like your teams except the Leafs. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. They beat the Flyers back in January. That's why. And if I didn't see that, I married a Philly girl. If I didn't say that, I'd be sleeping alone, fellas. I like you, but not that much.
He's a Flyers fan. Need I say more? During his visit, President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau celebrated the close, inseparable U.S.-Canada relationship and declared our nation's shared values on issues such as foreign interference and the war in Ukraine.
The one great thing, and I tell other world leaders I meet with when they ask about the geopolitical circumstances of the world, I said, we're lucky. We have Canada to our north, share these values. All the values are the same. We disagree in degree on things occasionally, but there's no fundamental difference in the democratic values we share. And it really makes a big difference.
The USA and Canada just signed an agreement allowing the Canadian Border Patrol to turn back asylum seekers into the U.S.
After midnight tonight, police and border officers will enforce the agreement and return irregular border crossers to the closest port of entry with the United States.
The deal is an effort to limit the influx of migrants at Roxham Road, a notorious crossing between New York and Quebec. A record number 40,000 migrants crossed into Canada last year, the vast majority of which entered through Roxham Road. As part of the pact, Canada will also create a new refugee program for 15,000 migrants fleeing prosecution and violence in South and Central America. After shocking allegations published by Global News, Don Valley North MP Han Dong stepped down this week.
I have informed the Prime Minister and the leadership of the Liberal Party caucus that I will be sitting as an independent at the conclusion of these remarks. To my wife, Sophie, and my kids, I love you. I thank you for all the support and love you give me. The truth will protect us. Our honor and our family will get through this together. Sorry about that. Thank you, Speaker.
Allegedly, Dong advised a senior Chinese diplomat in February 2021 that Beijing should hold off on freeing 2 Canadians being held by China at the time. You may remember back in 2021, Canada was legally required to arrest Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou for extradition to the US to face charges. US authorities accused Meng of doing business with Iran and violating US economic sanctions. In the days that followed the arrest, China's foreign ministry issued a warning to Canada that there will be consequences if the Huawei executive is not released immediately. On December 10th, former Canadian diplomat Michael Korvig and entrepreneur Michael Spavor were detained on espionage charges in China just days after Meng was arrested in Canada. Sources allege that Dong suggested to Han Tao, China's consul general in Toronto at the time, that if Beijing released the 2 Michaels, the opposition conservatives would benefit. Dong has confirmed that the conversation did in fact take place, however was not initiated by him. Dong still remains a member of Canadian Parliament, but has decided to sit as an independent. This drama has only furthered the cries for an immediate public inquiry. This brings me to my question of the day. How serious do you guys think election interference actually is? I would love to hear your opinions down in the comment section below. Toronto just asked Health Canada to decriminalize all drugs for personal use in the city for all people, including youths. In this recent change, the new request lays out a model that goes further than what Health Canada recently approved in BC. The BC legislation applies to people 18 and older, whereas the Toronto model would also apply to young people as well. A recent survey conducted by the Canadian Association of Mental Health indicates around 11% of Ontario students in grades 7 to 12 reported the use of opioids for recreational purposes in the past year. The government believes that the decriminalization of all drugs for everyone will save more lives and allow young drug abusers to come forward for help without fear of repercussions. What do you think about the decriminalization of all drugs for everyone in the city? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. The largest provincial business advocacy body in Canada is calling on the Ontario government to allow cannabis consumption lounges. This is just one of 6 recommendations made by the Ontario Chamber of Commerce. Some of the other recommendations include working with the federal government to ensure regulations strike the appropriate balance between safeguarding public health and ensuring cannabis companies can develop a distinct brand, and modernize regulations to allow licensed producers and retailers to have a direct relationship. Canadian cannabis sales grew 14.1% year over year from January 2022 to January 2023, according to retail sales data released by Statistics Canada. According to the same study, Canadians spent $4.5 billion on legal recreational cannabis in 2022. As per the last review, the illicit market still makes up 43% of cannabis sales in Ontario. The Ontario Cannabis Store says it will be reducing its price margins in a bid to help pot retailers compete with the illicit market. The OCS says the price changes will be implemented in September. Scarborough's very own Abel Tesse, aka The Weeknd, is officially the most popular artist on the planet. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, the singer-songwriter is statistically the world's most popular musician. The 33-year-old Canadian singer currently has the most monthly listeners on Spotify with 111.4 million as of March 20th, according to Guinness. He is also the first artist to reach 100 million monthly listeners on Spotify. The Weeknd currently has almost 30 million more monthly listeners than second place Miley Cyrus, who has 82.4 million. These aren't The Weeknd's first Guinness Book of World Record titles. In 2016, he was awarded 2 certificates, one for the most streamed album on Spotify in 2015, and another for the most consecutive weeks in the top 10 on Billboard's Hot 100 by a solo male artist. Blinding Lights from The Weeknd's 4th album, After Hours, remains the most streamed track on Spotify with almost 3.5 billion streams as of March 2023. New music this week. On March 24th, Kofi dropped his new EP, Just to Piss You Off. This one's called Don't Lie. Check it out.
I ain't got the time for you to play me. I don't need no women in my life saying save me. When you say you love me.
On March 22nd, Doobie dropped Be With You. Check this one out.
Nigga shot my partner, we got beef. Got them stolos and them glizzies. Double bet, will you ever feel me?
All music heard in these episodes can be found in the Showcase Toronto Spotify playlist. Ticketmaster is facing a class action lawsuit over the prices for the Drake and 21 Savage tour. The lawsuit claims that Ticketmaster intentionally misled consumers for their own financial gain. Ticketmaster released $790 official platinum tickets for Drake and 21 Savage's It's All a Blur tour stop in Montreal. A second show at the same venue was announced a day later, where prices were around $350 less for the same exact seats. The lawsuit claims that Ticketmaster knew about the second date, but did not notify concertgoers in order to squeeze out money from eager customers. Neither Ticketmaster, Drake, or 21 Savage have responded publicly to this lawsuit. And that's it for this episode of 6 Minutes. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and be sure to tune in to next week's episode. One love.